Hey, this is Brittany Wagner with Last Chance U, and you're listening to Out of Bounds Detroit Sports.
SportsRadioDetroit.com.
We don't need TV to entertain us. He said anus.
You actually have to contribute.
Wow. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Send a couple tweets, Dave.
You know what?
Get the job done.
You know what, guys? You're welcome for every guest ever.
Darren McCarty will be joining us to talk about, I don't know, what the fuck ever. If Mickey Redmond hadn't chosen hockey as his profession, he would undoubtedly be a lumberjack.
True. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. Or he would have played one on TV.
I must have been bombed.
You were very bombed.
Because I don't remember that at all.
Was she a good sport about it? Did she enjoy your antics?
Yeah, she giggled a little bit.
Yeah, and she's a nice gal.
All right, welcome. We are back. Out of Bounds Detroit Sports. David Faze, Mike Tripp, myself, Dan Griffin, invading your ear hole, as always, on Apple Podcasts, SportsRadioDetroit.com, or wherever the hell you listen to podcasts. And wherever you are listening, please leave us a rating, leave us a review. Check us out on Facebook, where you can leave us a review there as well, although it doesn't matter as much. And follow us on Twitter, at @OB_DETSports. And you can follow Sports Radio Detroit at Sports Radio DET. I feel like it's been about a month since we've been here.
It does feel that way.
We took last week off. It was unplanned. Much like Dave and Kristen's future pregnancy. Shit went down, man. I finally got going into the new job, and shit happened. I had to take care of it. Nothing bad happened. Just, shit happens, and you can't do a show when you're not getting paid for it. you gotta do the things that are going to get you paid, so you can do the show that you don't get paid for.
So that eventually maybe you can get paid for the show that you don't get paid for now.
I'll tell you what, man, we're coming up in the world.
Yeah, we are.
Have you talked to Roger recently, Dave?
Yeah.
All right.
Roger gave me a nice phone call.
We're not gonna throw anything out there just yet on the show, but Sports Radio Detroit coming up in the world, and we're proud of Roger and Ben and everybody involved. Over at Sports Radio Detroit, including ourselves. Can we be proud of ourselves, too? Is that all right?
I don't think that's pretentious at all.
Are we allowed to do that?
I think so.
I'm proud of you, Dan.
We got the best show on the network. I don't know. Some people might say that. Others probably wouldn't. And that's okay.
I think the line is, if you say you're pretty good, that's fine. If you say you're the best, then you're an asshole.
Okay, so we're pretty good.
There you go. See? There's a line that can't be crossed. As long as you don't cross it, you're good.
Way to go, a-hole!
It's all good fun.
Honestly, it does seem, though, like this week would have been the week to take off.
This week?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
If you missed last week's shows and the fact that they weren't there, we hope you went back and had a chance to listen to Brittany Wagner's episode.
Yes.
A lot of pretty decent feedback on that episode. I hope the folks enjoyed it. Is it this week Madison Heights opens up, or Madison High School opens up their football season? Is it this Friday?
I'll look it up.
Is it this Friday? She gonna be in town.
I think it's usually the Friday before Labor Day.
About to go.
believe.
About to go put my game on. That'd be this Friday.
No, the Friday before Labor Day would be next Friday.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Settle down.
I could be wrong that it's the Friday right before Labor Day, but I thought that's what it usually was.
Is it the Madison Eagles?
Yeah.
It should be.
Yeah.
Yep. There used to be two Madison Heights high schools. There's not anymore.
Next game, Thursday, August 24th.
Oh, so there you go.
To bring a
So next week.
So this
it's
Thursday.
This
This
Thursday.
Thursday.
Yes.
bottle of rosé. Try to get things going.
Or do you want to bring a bottle of Jose? Depends how excited you want the party to be.
Damn it. I mean, I do have her number. I can text her. What kind of booze you like, Britt?
Just literally, you know how weird that would be to just have to send a text that says Rose or Jose? She'd be like, huh?
I should do that. She'd be like, who dis?
How that do? How this do that?
I forgot about that.
Oh man.
We still got to figure out how we're going to make that segment.
We'll figure it
It's
out.
just a great name, but we have no idea what it's going to be yet. We have no idea what that bit's going to be.
But isn't that how every bit starts usually? You start with a premise, and then you move on from that.
I still don't know how you liking fat chicks even got started.
I don't either.
I don't remember.
Again, all I know, because I know how our show works, we started with a premise, and we worked forward from there.
I mean, we were
Not sure what the premise was, but I guess the premise was I like fat chicks. I don't think that one's really confusing.
We were supposed to have a segment called Pillow Talk with David.
That too.
David Faz.
That too.
No, well, Pillow Talk wasn't ever really a segment as much as whenever Dave started talking about something sexy, I would just play that music.
Okay.
It's been a while, Dave. What's been going on? Not enough going on in the bedroom for David Faze these days. Or should I say David Faz?
Life happens fast, man.
This sucks more than anything that has ever sucked before.
Actual audio from David Faze. Excuse me. Yeah. No, this would have been a great week to take off because there is fucking nothing going on. There's nothing going on. To the point where I wanted to ask you guys what in the hell you've been watching when there are no... Because you're not watching the Tigers. I have not even watched an inning of a Tigers game since probably mid-June.
I can tell you this. Probably twice a week, I'll catch maybe an inning or two because I'm out places that have the game on. But I have not turned the Tigers game on in my own house in quite some time now. There's no point.
So what the fuck have you been watching? This is how bad it got. ESPN2 last night, and I texted you and Jeff about this, Dave. ESPN2 last night had the fucking national championship of cornhole on. I watched it for a solid 45 minutes.
That was actually from August 8th broadcast.
When they did the Ocho.
Yes.
Right, so they reran it, and I watched it, because I didn't watch when ESPN2 was doing ESPN 8 the Ocho on August 8th. That's how dead it is. They reran the national championships of cornhole on ESPN2.
yeah, not live, not fresh, a rerun of it.
I was so fascinated. I didn't realize all the stuff that goes into playing cornhole properly as a professional.
The whole thing about because I didn't turn it on, but
You should have turned it on.
apparently I should have. But the whole thing with the bags was fascinating.
Yeah.
That was great. I would have never known.
Pros use special bags, Mike. Do you have any idea what might make a professional cornhole bag?
I'm going to look it up right now.
No, you have to guess first, and then you can look it up.
What makes it professional?
What is different about a professional bag?
I'm sure the weight.
That conversation can go many ways.
It could be the weight, but that wasn't the answer we were looking for.
That's not a bad guess, though.
There's a sticky side and a slippery side to every professional cornhole bag.
That I had no idea.
Yeah, so you can kind of choose your trajectory. If you're a lower trajectory thrower, you use that sticky side, right?
You know what that would be good for?
Holy
Even if
shit. For a set of professional bags, they go from $39.99 up to $50.
But here's the thing I'm thinking. First of all, I'm no professional cornhole player, right? But what I can tell you is, I at least have a
you kind of are when you're in bed with a fat chick.
Okay.
And you know she can't get down there to wax that stuff, so good on you, Dave.
Looking at bags, and next thing you know, you get a vinyl wrap of a woman's nice behind.
Cornhole.
For cornhole, yeah.
Well, hold on a second, though. Why is the hole not in the butt?
Where is the hole?
In her back.
The small of her back?
Yeah, I don't want that.
No, see, I don't want that either.
That's no good.
No, it should be the butthole. The butthole should be the hole you're aiming for. Both in
man.
the bedroom and on that particular bag board.
Oh, we got faulty. I'm working on it.
You can even get some LED lights
got it.
for the hole.
Oh, God, that's got to be a drop.
You can need some LED lights for the hole.
I don't think we have any mic.
Not legit drop. I mean, there's lots. There's lots of really good mic moments in the opens,
Right.
but I don't
No
think
drops.
there's any drops. Yeah.
We just got our first one.
Perfect.
We can get some LED lights for the hole.
But back to the whole sticky side versus smooth side. Even for somebody, that's a good drop too. While you're putting the LED light on the hole. No, but the thing is, if you're playing and the hole is blocked, you can't slide the thing up into the hole if the hole is blocked by another bag. So So I know this conversation is just it's haywire. It's haywire. It's all so well intentioned, but
Not my problem.
but if you have a side that is a little more is going to have a more tendency to stick to the board, then you have a chance to actually throw over the bags around the board and have it land where you want it to land.
Yeah, but
with the other ones, they just bounce and
These
fall
dudes
off.
make every shot in the hole.
Well, that's probably true.
Every one. It's fucking nuts. You didn't get a chance to see, Dave, Jordan Langworthy defeat Matt Guy for the $50,000 purse.
That guy's my favorite.
He was kind of a turd. I was rooting against him. He was like an older guy that got pissed at every shot that he missed. He's like bowling guy that is upset that he doesn't get a strike every fucking time he steps up.
Oh.
Every time he steps up to the lane. So I was rooting for Jordan Langworthy, but I kept getting so pissed at the people that were announcing this fucking event because they couldn't say his name right. They could not. I could not believe for 45 minutes, literally every time the announcer said this kid's name, it was wrong. His name is Jordan Langworthy.
And what were they saying?
Is that really that difficult to say?
Jordan Langworthy.
They kept saying Jordan Langsworthy. Like, it's got to be right there in front of you somewhere, guys. Look,
I'm
there's
sure
no
it is.
there's no S. There's no S. There was never an S. There's never going to be an S. So say his fucking name right. And you wonder why your career has diminished to the point where you are calling a $50,000 bags tournament in wherever they were, some casino somewhere that doesn't matter. Might have been Vegas. I don't know.
See, for that, they needed to bring Cotton and the other guy from Dodgeball.
That would have been awesome.
That would have been perfect.
That would have been awesome. Even if it were just for that day.
Exactly.
That's all we would have needed. The other thing I've been watching, guys, I can't believe I'm doing this. I've never done this before. I'm watching a little bit of Little League World Series. As the old guy from Family Guy would say, jackpot. But the thing that I noticed, because I'm not really paying attention to the games, I could not help but notice that I think a kid from New England was playing today. And you know how they do the little player profiles for the Little League World Series?
Some of them are hilarious.
You know how they asked favorite baseball player?
Yeah.
You know what this kid said?
No idea.
He probably said a cricket player, right?
It would have been better if he did. It would have been better if he did. You got a guess, Dave?
Well, do I get a question? Can I ask a question? Is it an actual baseball player?
It's tough to say. It's not a fictional person. I'll give you that hint.
So that's somebody who's not very good. That's Don Kelly.
Oh, that's true. worse than Don Kelly.
Danny Worth.
Worse than Danny Worth.
Danny Trejo, that Mexican guy.
Maybe a little better than that Mexican
every
guy.
movie. I have no idea.
Tim Tebow.
Oh,
He's not a baseball player. What are these parents teaching their kids? He's not a baseball player. I would have kicked that brat off my team immediately as soon as he said that Tim Tebow was his favorite baseball player. Because you don't know baseball. He's not a baseball player.
I wish he had said
Get off my team.
I wish he had said Michael Jordan.
That would have been better.
His favorite baseball player.
That would have been better to me,
I don't know,
in
Michael-
my eyes.
Michael Jordan's a pretty terrible baseball player.
Didn't at least Michael Jordan make it to AAA for like a minute?
Tim Tebow still might. We'll see.
I was infuriated. I never wanted to punch a child so badly in my entire life. Tim fucking Tebow.
tell us how you really feel after that.
I don't know if I wanted to punch the kid so much as I wanted to punch his parents. Like, his dad should have slapped him when he said that.
Both parents at once.
Did you? Yeah, with both fists. Maybe I'd throw a kick in there as well.
Or are you just gonna throw it like? Are you gonna have them just like line up like one behind the other and just roundhouse?
Settle
and,
down.
like the whole domino effect. One runs into the other. That kind of a deal.
I would have turned into Bruce Lee for just a minute.
Sure.
For just a minute. I would have been so infuriated. My adrenaline would have allowed me to be Bruce Lee.
Well,
Mike's quietly trying to open his treats.
And in that world, who is your Chuck Norris?
My other fist? I don't know.
I think your Bruce Lee is more likely to be one of your legs.
The other thing I've been watching is I was an episode behind on Hard Knocks, so I watched at least most of the first one, and it probably had the most ridiculous start I've ever seen.
Are they having a difficult time finding a team to agree to this every single year?
I don't know, but I think Tampa Bay's a pretty good team. I mean, to do Hard Knocks with, they just signed Deshaun Jackson.
Well, I'm just saying because it seems like every year that they're getting ready to start Hard Knocks, I hear about, they're trying to figure out what team they're going to use, and it always seems like they go to like 4 or 5 teams before they get somebody to say yes.
Well, that's true. It's a major distraction, and plus they're taken away. Like there are certain stipulations for teams that can automatically opt out. Like if you're a contending team, like if you won a division or a Super Bowl or made it to the playoffs, you're automatically have
like immunity from doing
you're
it.
Like barely, you're like not even asked to do it.
Is it because if you're good, you're not going to give away secrets to why you're good? Basically,
right. It's like, oh, let's do Hard Knocks with the New England Patriots.
Yeah.
Okay. But no, it started.
That's fine. They can do that. Bill Belichick will just edit all the footage.
That's true, and it'll just be a blank screen. It'll just be
the
old school rainbow bars.
It'll just be a half hour at a time of
the balls. It started with Jameis Winston.
Of course it did.
See, this is her house now. It's her house now. So this picture right here is my grandma, my granddad.
Watching him though,
my mama.
I kind of like
my
Jameis
auntie,
more.
my niece. This is where I used to stay right
This
here.
house is skank. This disgusting
Actually,
house.
I don't know how, but like 7 of us slept in this room right here. This bed is still the same bed that's been here since I grew up. This thing, I don't even want to get on
3
this
people
thing.
sleep in a twin-size
But
bed.
3 people used to sleep in here. 3 people used to sleep on this bed. I mean, it was toes in everybody's face. But all of us used to
Jameis
stay in
Winston
this
couldn't
house
even fit his dick in that bed anymore.
At the same damn time. At the same damn time. This was basically a community center, a daycare. It was 20 of us in there. Hey, Caleb. Who is this? What's your name?
How does do that?
That's his name? Stefan? Oh, so your boyfriend named Stefan? Why you ain't tell me about Stefan?
Because you was talking.
I seen Stefan when I said hey to you right here. You should have said
Stefan
this
is very
Stefan,
intimidated
my
right now.
friend. Nice to meet you, Stefan. This grill right here. This grill was here my whole life.
Old rusty keg grill.
But you see how we coming up now. We coming up.
Brand
we got
new
this
one.
Grill.
A brand new
And I
keg
bet
grill.
my auntie Rose and Rhonda, they still can cook on this grill if they wanted to. But now we came up. We good. We still cooking it. I'm gonna show you. Let me tell you what this was.
This is the best.
This area right here. This is basically where all the men pee when the bathroom is filled up. So we was just staying right here. What's up, cockroach? You good? We just killed one. Oh, they made. No, she having a baby. This cockroach having a baby. The cockroach having a baby for real. You see it?
I doubt it.
Oh, they mating. It's one of them. This is Mother Nature at its best. I feel like the crocodile hunter with roaches. You know what I'm saying? But this, we just pee right here. And this is our area where we use bathroom. We ain't have no money to really buy no water, so we keep the jug. What we gonna do? Get right here, but us, we sit here. That's probably some of the best water you get, but you had to stay away from the pee though. That wasn't good.
I said, if you strong, we strong. I said, we strong.
And then is this now his house that he lives in?
No, this might be another player. Who is this? This is probably.
G, you gonna wash them up tonight?
Mm-hmm.
It's your birthday.
My birthday ain't till February, big guy.
No, that's your birthday.
What is that?
Birthday.
Was it cake?
Here.
Oh, it's Gerald McCoy.
Yeah, ain't got no icing on it.
Giving his. God, his kid is big.
You will see. Look.
Boring.
Well, Jared McCoy's got some good money now these days.
Yeah, he did. He got himself paid.
Serious money.
Jameis Winston taking whizzes in the fucking yard.
You got to stay away from the pedo.
Now he's got
that one good.
And now he's got all this, but he doesn't know what it looks like for cockroaches to have babies and mate. The crocodile hunter with.
Honestly, my favorite part of that whole thing was the very specific moment in which, as he's talking about the cockroaches, he just like immediately flips back to the pee spot. he's like, I feel the crocodile hunter with roaches. But we all just peed right here, and then like, what? Unbelievable.
I said, are you strong? They said, I'm strong if you strong. And I said, we strong then.
One more time, please.
I said, are you strong? They said, I'm strong if you strong. And I said, we strong then. I said, are you strong? They said, I'm strong if you strong. And I said,
I didn't mean to play that a third time.
Well, it's never gets old. It's always great.
So this is what's going on. This is sports. There's the World Championships of bags. There's Hard Knocks, which is fine. Decent show, right? What was and Little League World Series. And then I had to catch up on Teen Mom, the British version of Teen Mom. And it is my favorite. It is legitimately my favorite. Would you like me to tell you about it?
All I know is I heard about the girl with the horse. That's all I know so far.
We can wait till okay. So Megan, right? Megan,
is she the girl with the horse?
Is about to turn 18 years old. She's already got a kid. They live in a trailer in the backyard of their parents. Not a mobile home, mind you. A trailer. An actual trailer with no pisser, nothing. That by the end of the season, they had moved into a campground because they wanted to, quote-unquote, be on their own.
They lived in a trailer.
Yes, a trailer. Like that you could hook up to the back of a pickup truck and pull down the road. That's what they lived in with their kid. Happy as a clam.
Okay.
You all right?
Yeah, you? Me and Dylan are getting on much better, but we're worried about money.
She's Megan from
We can
Essex.
hardly afford the rent, and it's my 18th birthday soon.
Rent for
and
what?
We want to go on holiday.
You want to go on vacation?
How much spending money have we actually got?
Well, whatever's in that bank. I'm
Have
thinking
you got
about.
paid today?
Yeah.
A
but
piggy
I
bank!
The MOT, didn't I?
How much was that?
60. But
So how much we got?
like 40 quid, 50 quid.
I've got that 60 from child thing.
But before we go away, I've got to put away 163 for my car insurance and 70 for my phone.
And then I've got my phone bill and pet insurance.
Need to write down how much we need to put away. Because I've only got next week's wages.
Boobies.
It's hard on Dylan having to pay for everything. There's never enough money to go round.
You bought a horse!
Dylan got the horse to make me happy.
Good girl.
We found out she's not pregnant, but we just can't afford to keep her.
Duh.
Megan has to go.
I just don't think he understood how much work she'd actually need, which is why he's sort of a bit more upset. I just think, oh, like she was mine, and now she's not. Oh, I just suppose it wasn't meant to be, wasn't meant to keep her.
You know what's hilarious about this? I always think that British people, when they when I hear a British person talk, I always think that inherently they sound smarter than us, right?
And then you meet Megan from Essex.
But I was gonna say, I think it works in reverse too, which is for some reason that British accent makes the dumb person sound even dumber. Somehow, it does. Like, she was mine, but now she's not. Yeah, no shit, Megan.
No.
Thanks.
No. And they want to go on vacation. She wants to go on vacation for her 18th birthday, and she goes, how much money have we actually got? And he points to a fucking water bottle.
Whatever's in that bag.
It's a piggy bank. And they don't, oh my God. It's too good. It's too good. Like, she is my favorite teen mom of all of the seasons so far. By far. Because she is a fucking mess. And it is absolutely hilarious. And her dipshit boyfriend banged one of her friends during the season after they had been engaged. She takes him back. He goes out and buys her a fucking horse. That, by the way, the horse is bigger than their house. And he builds like a makeshift stable for the horse in like a neighborhood outside of either hers or his parents' house. They have the horse for like 3 days before they're like, maybe this was a bad idea. I just don't understand how anybody can not watch this show because it's so fucking entertainingly ridiculous. It's awesome. I love it. I love Teen Mom and Teen Mom. And it's better now because these chicks are all a lot younger. Like the ones from the first couple of seasons are like adults now and semi getting their lives together. Even Janelle and Farrah's rich as hell, but still
Farrah just keeps buying body parts.
I'm wondering when the first day she's going to take Sophia in to have plastic surgery. I'm waiting for that day. Sophia's like 8 years old now. Oh, by the way, this Megan chick just had her second kid.
Is she named after the horse?
I don't know. Here's a little picture right here of them in the hospital.
That's so
her and
lovely.
Dylan. You've got a kid, Dylan, and he of course he never stays home. He's got to go out to the pub every night.
He kind of looks like Austin from Specs Howard.
Wow.
I mean, I see the resemblance. Physically, I would hope mentally that's not the case.
Couldn't tell you. I don't have any idea. I'd like to think that's probably accurate, but I can't vouch for that.
Oh my God, I love Teen Mom, and now Teen Mom.
Ridiculous.
Did you hear that they added a fifth Teen Mom to season 2?
I think I did hear something.
Somebody
about
that was
this.
on season that was supposed to be on Teen Mom 3, but Teen Mom 3 didn't make it.
What's her name?
I fucking forgot, but she's kind of hot.
Tracy?
But she's super pregnant right now, but still kind of looks hot, so you know that she's actually probably hot.
I want there to be one with like a really old woman's name.
Like a
Mildred
or a Gertie.
Gertie.
You need you a Gertie.
How about let me think of a good one. Oh God, how about like a Helen?
Margaret.
Margaret's a good one.
Margaret would probably be a teen mom name, or a teen mom name, I should
Well,
say.
I can tell you, my grandmother's name was Helen, so I know that's not a name you hear very much anymore. Not a name you hear very much anymore.
Or Mary. Nobody's naming their kid Mary anymore.
No, not usually.
All right, we should.
Mary's is like part of a name now. Like somebody like the kid's name will be like Mary Beth. It's like the whole name, which is stupid. But why if you don't just go with Mary then or Elizabeth?
I don't know anybody naming their kid that.
I know one Mary Beth.
Out of
I don't know. Out of what? I don't
the
even
plethora of fat chicks that you know. All right, we got to take a break. We got to terminate this segment at least. What do we have coming up? One of these college football writers actually voted Michigan State, yes, the very same Michigan State, into the top 25. And somebody from the Freep discovered who that person is. A tearjerker story about a former fan favorite. Tiger Woods is furious about something. And a quote-unquote legendary Red Wing may not finish his contract. Is it good or bad? 248. You're listening to Out of Bounds Detroit Sports. David Faze, Mike Tripp, myself, Dan Griffin. SportsRadioDetroit.com. Don't go away.
The past, resurrect those bridges with ancient glance. My old stone face can't seem to break her down.
Hey, this is Darren McCarty, 4-time Stanley Cup champion with the Detroit Red Wings. You're listening to Out of Bounds Detroit Sports on SportsRadioDetroit.com.
Oh, I'm good to go now. I'm good to go, man. Shit.
As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I take a look at my life and realize there's nothing left. Cause I've been blasting and laughing so long that even my mama thinks that my mind is gone. But I ain't never crossed a man that didn't deserve it. Me be treated like a punk, you know that's unheard of. You better watch how you're talking and where you're walking, or you and your homies might be lying and chalk.
All right, welcome back. Out of Bounds Detroit Sports, David Faze, Mike Tripp, and myself, Dan Griffin, invading your ear hole on Apple Podcasts and SportsRadioDetroit.com. Ooh, I burped. Be sure, leave us a review wherever you happen to be listening, wherever you listen to podcasts. Check us out on Facebook. And follow us on Twitter at OB_DetSports. I have to get back into the groove of this show right now because I got very upset over the break. It's so funny because politics on social media, I love engaging in it and I hate it at the same fucking time because people are idiots. People are fucking idiots, Dave.
Well, we've known that for a long time.
You don't engage, do you?
Typically, well,
I engage. I love it.
It's just
I love it and hate it.
I think partly it's just because I don't even really comment on stuff. Like, I don't make my own comments, and therefore I don't invite any backlash in the first place. Not because I'm afraid of the backlash. I just don't care enough to start the conversation in the first place.
I just get upset with people because I am big. By the way, speaking of which, Jerry Lewis passed away.
Oh yeah,
because
shit. I would not say that.
I was about to get into my affiliation with the Muscular Dystrophy Association. Nobody more affiliated than Jerry Lewis. So rest in peace, Jerry. He was 91. I mean, had to be coming soon, right? But
I'm surprised he was around as long as he was. What was that? But 10 years ago, he was going through those terrible health issues where he blew up.
That was when he stopped doing the MDA telethon.
He did for a little bit.
Yeah.
But then remember he came back. The first couple of years that he was back, he was huge.
He looked like Chris Christie a little bit.
just without Jerry Jones' donger in his mouth.
That's right, with Twinkie cream all over it.
No, this is the conversation we had right before we came back on air. That's how much fun we have on our breaks. But no, I argue that Jerry Jones' donger just is the cream filling. So there's just a Twinkie around. There's no cream in it. There's just a Twinkie around the dong.
Yes.
But the problem there is
sucks that Twinkie till the cream comes out.
Chris Christie just devours everything. So I feel in that regard, I feel ever so slightly bad for Jerry Jones because he's probably just going to chomp down on it at that point. You know,
it's not a Tootsie Pop, bro.
No, he's not.
Yeah, you're not getting to that Tootsie Roll filling.
No, you're not.
But I get so upset because of my affiliation with MDA, and I have I have a surprising amount of people when it comes to particularly the healthcare debate, right? Obamacare is a bitch. It's completely imperfect. We all understand this. However, there's this faction of people that are also affiliated with MDA that have this ridiculous hatred for Medicaid. Like, do you not understand how stupid that is? You affiliate yourself with an organization that helps terminally ill children, disabled children, that eventually become adults and need Medicaid. And you spew this garbage, but you show up to camp the next year and do whatever it is you do. It doesn't make any fucking sense to me. So I get pissed. I get pissed at people that do that shit because it's right in front of you. It's right in front of you. For at least 1 week out of the year, it's right in front of you, and you still do this shit. And you still sympathize with what Donald Trump's trying to do to our healthcare system. It just doesn't make any fucking sense to me. It'll never make any sense.
Is he just the ultimate troll, or does he really mean it?
The individual I was arguing with?
Yeah.
Oh, he really means it, and he's one of those people. He's one of those people that just spews his opinion, and then when you have a perfectly rational response to his opinion, you can even tell him that you understand his opinion. You disagree with his opinion, but you understand his opinion. And then you know what he does? He's one of those people that just starts asking you passive-aggressive questions. Just over and over and over again. Like trying to be a fucking smartass. It's like, all right, do you want to have a conversation? Do you want to come to the middle on this? And this is the issue that we have societally with politics. And politics spews into everything. It's the fact that nobody fucking listens to each other. We sit around and we spew our opinions, and we don't listen to what our neighbor has to say. So we wonder why this is so divisive. The fringe right attacks the fringe left. Then the fringe left responds by going and having a rally and going after the fringe right. And it's like you're all arguing with each other. You're just you firing insults back at each other about how you're an idiot. No, you're an idiot.
And then both sides hate the people in the middle because they wanted to make a choice.
Exactly. Yeah. Like as somebody who used to be pretty far left that has come up far closer to the middle. Leans a little bit left. I certainly do. But all I get is from the right, I get, you're a liberal snowflake. And then from the left, I get, not nearly as often, but on occasion, I get, you're a racist conservative. That's what I get. That's what I get. And it's like, you're all fucking idiots. Every one of you. You're all stupid. Come to me. Come to where I am. I'll listen to your opinion. I'll agree with it sometimes. I'll disagree with it other times. I'll agree with the other side sometimes. I'll disagree with the other side sometimes. But you can't do that. You're just not allowed to do that today.
Yeah. No,
everybody hates you if you're in the middle, except for the people in the middle, which there aren't enough of us.
Well, then the other problem you run into is that the people in the middle, some of them, and look, I consider myself fairly middle. I'm the opposite of you, where I'm fairly middle, but a little more right leaning.
How dare you, David Faze? Get out of my studio!
But it's like
you racist Nazi bigot. Get out of my studio.
The other thing you find is that there are people that claim they're in the middle, but they claim they're in the middle because they don't really have an opinion. But their opinion is that they're in the middle. Well, you're not really in the middle then. You're not any place. If you don't have any concept of the policies and you have no idea what you would want your president to do for you and what you would want your government to do for you, then you're not really in a spot at all. You don't really count in regards to getting a head count of where people stand in their affiliations.
You're not in the middle. You're apolitical.
Completely.
And that's okay too. That's fine.
I'd rather you just be outright with that than try to make the claim you're in the middle because it just sounds good. Apparently. Well, I'm in the middle. No, you're not.
I just don't want to argue anymore.
You're not neutral.
I don't want to argue anymore either, but I don't want to argue anymore because I want us to come to fucking compromise, and it just doesn't happen. Oh,
no.
Hillary's emails. Trump's colluding with Russia. It's like, will you stop? Will you all just stop? Enough already. Fuck. There are a lot of reasons to dislike both of those people. Let's find the right reasons. Anyway. That's enough of the political talk here on Out of Bounds Detroit Sports. But I do like the fact that we're not afraid to go there.
No, not at all. Hey, we didn't get to this in the first segment.
What is that?
What
I don't know. If you're wondering Wilner's credentials, he's been covering college sports for decades, according to his bio on the Mercury News website. He has a Heisman Trophy vote and was.
I thought I was going to say he has a Heisman Trophy. Like, what?
Where the hell did he get that? He stole.
He stole Reggie Bush's
or
Heisman
OJ's
Trophy. Well, he's next then.
Yeah, he's going to get careful. Be careful, John Wilner. OJ's coming after you. He was named Beat Writer of the Year in 2013 by the Football Writers Association of America. I think he should have that award revoked.
Dude, I think
you better check his brain for a CTE.
Yeah.
Well, he did win a Heisman Trophy.
By the way, I gotta mention this because I thought it was absolutely hilarious. So I don't know if you guys have watched any of them. There's been 2 so far. I think there's one. There's the last one is this upcoming Thursday here, but they've been doing these primetime episodes of Weekend Update on Thursday night the last 2 weeks, and there's, like I said, I think the third and final one is this week. But they right before the first one aired, they were on Michael Che and Colin Jost, who are the hosts of Weekend Update, were on Seth Meyers' show talking about it and talking about all the different stories they've missed since SNL's been off the air in May and all this and that. But they were talking about one of the big stories being OJ's parole, right? Colin said something that made me laugh so hard. He was like, just because it feels like with all the stuff happening with Trump and everything that's going on in the world now, that like the OJ parole, like OJ was like the biggest story of the '90s, and now like nobody cares, you know. And then Colin goes, yeah, wouldn't it be great just
if it doesn't fit, you must acquit.
He said, I know people aren't going to like me saying this, but wouldn't it be great just because it would make him relevant again if he just killed a second time?
But who? Who? He's got to find a hot blonde.
I don't know.
Marry her, beat the shit out of her for a few years, and then kill her with and her lover.
He goes, he's just going to like stab somebody and then hand him his memorabilia. It's like, oh my God.
OJ plants his own evidence on his victim.
Yep. It was great.
Oh, by the way, I know off topic, but going back to those writers from Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Fred Goodall
of
the Associated Press and Bill Chastain of
Bill
MLB.com.
Good old Billy boy. Wonder who he has in his preseason
William
top 25.
Chastain.
Probably has Central Florida in his preseason top 25.
Yeah, he also probably thinks Blake Bortles is the greatest quarterback of all time.
Not even the greatest quarterback in the history of Central Florida. Who does that title belong to? That's a fun trivia question.
I'm sure as soon as you say it, I'm going to be like, shit, I should have known that.
Get your roll on Dante Culpepper.
Yeah.
He's probably got better numbers. I don't know. I would like to compare their college numbers, but I think Dante Culpepper was the better pro. I think we could say that by far.
He was also built like a freaking defensive end. It was insane.
He had tiny hands, though. That's why he fumbled a lot.
Which is strange.
Really tiny hands.
Yeah.
That means he had a small donger, too.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
You know what they say? Small hands, small gloves.
They do say that sometimes.
What else did I have here? Oh my God, the tearjerker story about Curtis Granderson.
Hey, by the way, I just had to mention this because Jeff will like this.
Yeah,
because remember the story that we still don't even know now whether it was accurate or false. The whole bit a couple weeks ago about the defense or the offense being the defense for MSU or whatever. And then we were looking at the article and going like, wait, what's the reality? Because the title of it was 100% different than what the first line of the article said. We're all like, all right, now I don't know what's happening.
Fake news.
But they had a scrimmage last week, and the offense did win in overtime. So I was like, Jeff will like this. So that was just that was mainly for Jeff.
Problematic.
Problematic
for your Spartans.
I'm not gonna worry about it.
5-7 special.
It's overtime. I don't care. Fucking scrimmage. I don't give a shit. Anyway.
Did you like that tearjerker story in the Detroit News about Curtis Granderson possibly making a return to the I shouldn't say that. That's a poor way to word it. One particular writer thinks that it would be a quote-unquote grand finale if Curtis Granderson finished his career in Detroit.
You know what? It would have. You know, he's a writer.
Here's the thing.
Couldn't he have said? Shouldn't he have said it would have been? It would be a grand slam if he came home.
Well,
I'm just saying.
that's the headline. Writers aren't in charge of the headline.
I'm just
Blame the editor for that. But here's the thing: Kurt
You're
mentioned
gonna be cheesy, but you do it the right way.
Kurt mentioned put this in the Detroit News, and I'm not going to get on Kurt for this. I don't think this was a terrible article. It was pretty well written, and when you consider the fact that there's not much going on in sports right now, I don't hate it, but I do hate the premise of the article. This idea of Curtis Granderson coming back to be a Tiger to finish his career for a few different reasons. First of all, I mean, if you're going to sign him in the offseason, it's going to be for some minuscule contract. It's going to be year to year. And this idea that he'll replace Justin Upton, if Justin Upton decides to opt out, which right now, Justin Upton, be awfully smart to opt out of this contract. 2 reasons. 1, going to get paid. 2, this team ain't going anywhere. This team isn't going anywhere in the not so distant future. So,
is he gonna get more than 88.5 guaranteed though? It's an honest question.
He's had a career year, or close to a career year.
Yeah, he had a pretty damn good year the year before the Tigers signed him, and that market was pretty rich at the time.
Maybe not. Maybe he makes slightly less, but he goes somewhere he can win. It depends what he wants.
Yes, he has to make that decision. Yeah.
So I'm looking at Justin Upton, thinking, if I'm Justin Upton, I'm probably opting out and getting the hell out of here and going to play for an actual manager and playing for an organization that doesn't have $1 billion tied up in 3 goddamn players, including me.
Well, I don't think he's going to look at it that way, because I don't think he's looking at it going, we have this money wrapped up into Justin, and Justin Verlander, and we have money wrapped up into Miguel. I don't think Upton is sitting there going like, these guys are bums. I know Miguel has had a terrible year, but I guarantee you Justin Upton is expecting that Miguel is gonna. Miguel's had a lot of shit going on this year. I don't think he's been healthy the entire year, which is an excuse. Which just makes me mad that they won't just. I know he's your star.
Miguel Cabrera hasn't been healthy for 3 years, Dave.
But you need to force the hand to put him on the DL or sit him down. You can't just have him play every day because Brad Ausmus is too much of a fucking pussy to say, sorry, Miguel, you're not playing. Like, man up and do it, because he's not helping the ball club, right? But I fully expect Miguel Cabrera to come back and have a much better year next year. I think the years of Miguel Cabrera being a perennial 320, 330 hitter with 25, 30 bombs and 110 RBI are probably done. But I don't think what we're seeing right now is, I don't think Miguel is all of a sudden just done. I don't. It's different than Victor. I just don't think that's going to be.
Will you acknowledge that this is the beginning of the decline? Now it's how quickly does the decline come?
Absolutely. But I just don't think a guy who's been as good as he has for his whole career is going to fall that far that fast. I just don't think that happens.
But the reality is, whether it's a fast decline or a slow one, either way, in my opinion, when it comes to Miguel Cabrera, it doesn't matter.
You're paying him too much for what he's going to give you. That's 100% accurate.
But that's not even it, Dave. Money aside, the way this team is put together, it doesn't matter. This team is not winning anything within the next 5 years. I mean, I don't know if there are still people out there that believe this team can still do something. If you think that, you're in denial. I mean,
there are ways. There are ways, but most of those ways involve. It basically comes down to one simple fact: either Chris Ilitch has to have a complete about face about how he wants to handle things, or Chris Ilitch tells the team. That's the only way it changes, because the only way this team is going to, basically, Chris Ilitch would have to basically at this point. There's the biggest issues with this team, obviously being the farm system, and I do think the farm system is improving, but you can't just that kind of thing doesn't happen overnight, and you can't just all of a sudden expect a guy who is in A-ball this year to then be a superstar in the majors next year, right? So that's the problem. So even if you have some guys that might become good players, it's not going to happen right away. And the other thing is that the worst contracts on this team for me are not I do not think are Miguel. I truly don't think is the worst contract, and I don't think Justin Verlander is the worst contract on the team. In fact, his contract at this point is really not that bad at all, honestly, in the general scheme of things. It's not that long anymore. It's not a big deal. The worst contracts easily are Jordan Zimmerman, and the other one is shoot, am I drawing a blank? I just had it in my head. Damn it! Jordan Zimmerman and Victor Martinez. And I know Victor's only 1 year, but if you bring back this team with Victor, even some semblance of this team with Victor next year, it's a fucking joke.
Collectively, though, Miguel Cabrera is the worst contract on this team. When we're talking about,
he was going to get paid at some point in time in his life.
The combination of the length and the money. I mean, Miguel Cabrera in the overall grand scheme, looking down the line to the future, there's no doubt Miguel Cabrera. Miguel Cabrera, at some point, whether it's next year or 5 years from now, at some point, Miguel Cabrera is going to be the worst contract in baseball. There's no question about that.
But it's relative, though, because when at the point that he is undoubtedly the worst contract, let's put it this way: at the point that he's the worst contract, 100% on the Tigers, it's kind of. It's
gonna be like Ryan Howard circa 2013.
But the difference will be you won't have the other big ones on the roster anymore. So you will still have. Yes, you have a ton of money tied up into this one guy, which is not a desired thing, but you won't have. You will still at that point you will have more flexibility because you won't have 6 different gigantic contracts that you're trying to fight off. Right at that point, the money. Make no mistake. There's part of this too, is the money that. And it's obviously not a gigantic amount in the world of baseball and the world of sports, but you're paying $6 million a year right now too for Prince Fielder, right? You're paying. I mean, so you got all this dead money. That's the big. The contracts to me are the biggest problem. I think they're starting to find it. Like, let's put it this way: if you want to look for a positive, one of the positives for me is. Not that I think he's a superstar. I'm not going to all of a sudden anoint him the next. But I think Mikey Matuk is a nice find. I think he's a guy that is going to be part of your rotation defense in the outfield. And I think he's a far better, even if he's just a fourth outfielder, I think he's a far better fourth outfielder than an Alex Presley, than a Tyler Collins. Those guys. And you got him for basically nothing. And that's a good move by Al Avila, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you need guys like that. You're going to need those that's the kind of players you're going to have to start to find if you want to change the culture of how this team is put together. And that's what Al's trying to do. And we'll see if he can do it. I don't know. I really don't know. But he's going to have to be really fucking creative. And again, another big part of it is what is Chris Ilitch going to allow, and I don't know. I don't see you being able to supplement Mikey Matuk style players with these contracts within the next 2 to 3 years to make this team contend again. Well, Mike Matuk is not making shit. Doesn't make anything. You're gonna have to find You're gonna have to have a handful of guys on your team that are really.
He's also not going to win a Silver Slugger in the outfield.
Well, he's not.
He goes hand in hand.
He's not. But he's been one of the top 10 outfielders in all of baseball in the last 3 months. And again, small sample size. I get it. I totally get it. But if you're looking at it, under a microscope, that's something you could potentially build on.
We actually talked about the Tigers.
I
didn't think that was going to happen the rest of the season.
I also don't know. I have no idea what the situation is going to be. Outfield wise, one of the most intriguing things about the future of the Tigers and how things are going to go to me is this whole situation with Nick Castellanos. Because regardless of what you feel about him even moving to right field, the thing that's funny to me is, let's put it this way. Let's say that Justin Upton doesn't opt out. Okay. So you basically have at least 2 of your 3 outfielders for sure guaranteed next year in Justin and Mikey Matuk, if that's the case, right? Then you have to decide what you're doing in right field. Because if it's Nick Castellanos, I don't know. If you have another youngster that you really like that makes a big jump, maybe Jacoby Jones makes a big jump and you want him to start instead. Maybe you're done with Nick Castellanos. I don't know. Because I have a very strong feeling that Nick Castellanos is not going to be a third baseman to start the next year.
No, he's terrible. He's atrocious over there.
And the only way that
I said it, I think last week or so. If Nick Castellanos is going to play somewhere, he's going to be a first baseman. Now he needs to be better offensively.
That would be to me that would be the ideal. Would be to get
when Victor's gone. But Miggy's your DH.
I'd like Victor to be gone.
You move Nick to first base.
I'd like Victor to be gone as soon as this year.
But you also don't want Nick Castellanos at first base with the offensive production that he gives off. I mean, he could be, at first base, he could be I would say at first base he'd probably be a slightly above average defensive player when you consider.
I'm not worried about the average. I'm really not. The average that Nick has right now is a little deceiving.
What I'm getting at is, though, is he good enough? Is he good enough defensively? He's terrible at third base, right? We know that. But is he? Will he be good enough defensively at first base to be among the likes of a Justin Smoke, who's not a very good offensive first baseman, but he plays a pretty solid defensive first base? These are the questions you have with Nick Castellanos.
Smoke's having a hell of a year.
He's having a nice year. He's having a nice year.
I think Castellanos could be more like a. I don't even know if he'd be just. It's funny you say Justin Smoke because I was thinking of another former Texas Ranger in Mitch Moreland. He'd be kind of along those lines. Because Mitch Moreland's known more for his not that he's a phenomenal defender, but I think he's known more for his defensive play than he is for his offensive.
A little more power than Nick too.
He's got a little. Nick's got some pop, and I do think that Nick has been a little snake bit this year in terms of some of the bad luck he's had where he's smoked some balls. He's got I think he's still in the top 5 in the entire league in hard hit ball percentage, however they label that, which is kind of a statistic they look at to determine how a guy's approach at the plate is. And Nick has not been just he hasn't had the Ian Kinsler syndrome where he's just popping the ball all over the place, right? He's sometimes he's smoking the ball and not getting rewarded for it. And that's going to happen, which is why I say the average thing doesn't worry me too much. I think too much is made of average in baseball sometimes. Not that I think it shouldn't be celebrated when a guy can be a consistent 310, 315 hitter through his whole career. I mean, that's phenomenal. But I do think that average is looked at too often sometimes because of some of these other elements like hard hit ball percentage and batting average on balls in play and all these little nuances you can look at to determine how a guy's really hitting at the plate. Strikeouts is a big thing too. You can look at a guy, and if a guy's striking out all the time, that's a reason why his average is probably pretty low if he's just not doing anything with the ball.
Hello, Adam Dunn.
Yeah, right. Adam Dunn or Todd Frazier. But look, I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know how this team's going to be constructed, and this offseason is going to be very interesting. I do think there's a very strong possibility. I know there's been all this talk now and blah, blah, blah. I never thought there was really anything to many of the rumors of JV getting moved other than the initial stuff before the trade deadline. As soon as the trade deadline passed, I know there was, you can still trade him after waivers. It's not going to happen.
Nope.
I think there's a solid chance that you could see a Justin Verlander trade in the offseason, mainly because some of the teams that you're not going to be able to be involved in now in discussions because those teams are not in the market to make a move. Some of the other teams, some bigger markets, when they're reassessing their situations in the offseason, might be more willing to re-engage in conversations on a guy like that when it's coming into a new season and they're trying to. Not only would be exciting for a fan base to get a guy with the recognition of Justin Verlander, but he's still a good player. You'll still be getting a very good pitcher and a guy who is going to help your staff for sure. And you're going to be more willing to give up some guys especially when you're going to have them for a full season and then beyond.
That's one of those things that would make Al Avila. Make me respect Al Avila as a general manager. Make that move. Make that tough move. He hasn't done that yet. He's made no-brainer trades, easy decisions. Hasn't made that tough move yet. Well, he does that. I could give him some more credit than what I've been giving him so far.
I do want to make the comment on that very point, though, that I hope the fans if there's any fans that are upset with Al Avila for not trading JV to this point, I hope those fans aren't upset because they're in the shed the contract at all costs camp. Because I think that's a very poor way of looking at it. Because a guy of Justin Verlander's ilk, you cannot just deal that. It's not like he's a guy who has completely faded out, right? So you can't trade a guy like that just for the sake of getting out of the contract.
Curtis Granderson broke up his no-hitter the other night.
You have to get quality prospects back for him. If you don't, that's a bad trade. I don't care how you look at it.
Before we end the show here, speaking of bad contracts, a Detroit Red Wings superstar said that he may not finish out his contract in Detroit. And I got to tell you, when I first heard this, before I had really thought of the semantics of it, I got like a quarter chub. I got like a small boner and then I realized what it actually meant. And that would be that another superstar veteran would screw over the franchise. Henrik Zetterberg, talking to some journalists in Sweden, saying that it is unlikely he will finish out his contract. And I thought to myself, sweet, get out of here. But then I realized what that actually means. What's the actual verbiage of that stipulation that the NHL put in when you sign these $9 million year-long deals that are front-loaded?
Well, yeah, the NHL protected. The whole point was for the team was to circumvent the cap a little bit.
Right.
But the NHL also saved themselves and penalized the teams.
The recapture penalty.
Yeah.
And so if Henrik Zetterberg were to walk away, they would have to pay in cap more than they would have actually paid him in salary.
Yeah, his salary the last 2 years is like $1.2 million. It's like something very small.
Well, this year, his cap this year is $6.1 million.
But his actual salary is over $7 million, I believe.
Next year, it's $3.35, and then in his final 2 years, it's $1 million each year.
Okay.
He's talking about walking away before his final year. So even if you weren't going to get that recapture penalty against you, if you're the Red Wings, even if that were, you would still only be saving $1 million.
He's talking about walking away before his last 2 years.
Either way, $1 million a year. That's it. But then you have to factor in the recapture penalty,
which means they're going to pay about a little over $5 million.
The cap would go up their cap room would go down without Henry. In other words, from a cap perspective, the Red Wings would be better off having Henrik Zetterberg on the roster.
Yes, basically to make it an easy number to hear, if Henrik Zetterberg doesn't play his last 2 years, the cap hit for his contract becomes it's like 5 point something
instead of the 1.
Instead of 1. So
go figure. The guy already can't play anymore.
He was their best player last year.
That doesn't say anything. The guy already can't play anymore. There have been rumors abound of what he's done to this locker room, both under Mike Babcock and under Jeff Blashill, as far as the possibility of him being a locker room cancer in that way, as far as taking part of the team's loyalty and splitting the locker room. Now you have a situation where he could walk away and cost this team what would be the equivalent of about $9.5 million in cap between the 2 years combined?
No, it'd be more than that.
Somewhere
in that range, 9 to 9.5, somewhere in there, yeah.
So my boner subsided quickly after I heard that.
The biggest problem too is the other thing. There's people that are probably initially going to go, well, why don't you? If that happens, why can't you just do the same thing you did with Dotz's contract? Well, it's because the situation when a player is walking away from his contract to go somewhere else is completely different than when a player actually retires and formally enters his retirement papers. It's a completely different thing. You can't trade a player who has retired. You can't trade the contract.
Not to mention, the difference with Datsyuk and Zetterberg is that Zetterberg has the issue of this recapture penalty for signing this long deal that was front-loaded that the NHL tried to do. That's the NHL's penalizing teams for signing because it's a way to circumvent the cap.
Right.
And with Datsyuk, that was just simply a matter of him signing a multi-year deal after age 35.
After 35, yeah.
So it's a little bit of a different situation.
Well, it is, but the bare bones point I was trying to make is just that anybody that looks at it and goes, well, why can't you just do the same thing they did last year and get out from under the contract by trading it to a team like Arizona or one of those teams that's trying to get reach the cap floor? Why can't you do that again? Well, because the contract situations are 100% different. Even though you might not think they are 100% different. So yeah, man,
Henrik Zetterberg.
I don't know what's going to happen.
Infuriates me.
I'll tell you what.
He just infuriates me.
This is yet another thing. Now, again, I want to make sure that I say this. I'm gonna defend Ken Holland before I shit on him. But in fairness, this deal was the kind of deal that a lot of general managers and a lot of teams were trying to do at that point in time. You can't do that anymore. That was a 12-year deal, I think, when they signed it. You now 8 is the cap, I believe, these days with the CBA. I think you can't sign more than an 8-year deal. And you can't do the cap circumvention either. It's got to be you can't do the back-loaded bullshit anymore either.
Front-loaded.
Front-loaded. Sorry, yeah. You can't do the front-loaded bullshit anymore. It's got to be more evenly distributed. But anyway, at the same time, if basically in the course of about 3 years, Ken Holland has two situations. Well, if he's even still here, but Ken Holland will have created two different situations that basically forced his hand to make a move that he shouldn't have had to make, which again is his own fault. Just yet another example of Ken Holland not understanding the new era of hockey.
Well, you know what, Dave, then you know what? Maybe it's for the best. Maybe it's for the best, because what would Ken Holland do with that extra cap money? He'd go out and spend it on a guy like Steve Ott, or he'd go out and spend it on a guy like Franz.
$4.5 million for Steve Ott.
He'd go out and spend it on a guy like Franz Nielsen, who's a good player and probably the best player on this team. But when you consider the circumstances of the rest of the team, how much does a guy like Franz Nielsen actually help this team? Not much. Not much.
The other thing is the other thing I thought about on the other side of the conversation about general manager is like, if this is another weird cap situation and and they decide to go a different direction, that new general manager is going to be walking into some hamstrung situations with the cap, with some of these contracts and some of these nuances to the CBA that Ken Holland has royally fucked up.
If you can get him back, well, you know what? You're probably going to go through two GMs. You're going to go through one that fails.
I don't know about that.
You're going to get another one.
You just got to find the right one. That's all.
All right, we got to terminate this podcast. We had to give the people something after taking the week off, but there wasn't much to talk about. But we should be back Thursday anyway for some more nonsense, because there's just football's football's almost here, folks. We'll have full-fledged shows. We'll start the picks again. It'll be good stuff. You don't have to deal with any more of this teen mom ridiculousness anymore.
Well, this weekend is the big super fight.
That's right.
We can preview that.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about McGregor Mayweather on Thursday, if there's really anything much more to say. But I'm sure something will come out between now and then. But until then, you've been listening to Out of Bounds Detroit Sports. David Faze, Mike Tripp, and myself, Dan Griffin, on SportsRadioDetroit.com, and we are out of here.